All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are going to decode a really fascinating and, yeah, wonderfully complex source document called the Ouroboros Golf Framework. And trust me, it promises to completely reframe just about everything you thought you knew about golf.
So this entire framework, the whole thing, is built around this one single powerful image from the ancient world, the Ouroboros. You know, the snake eating its own tail. It's all about an eternal cycle, a closed loop where the end is always the beginning.
And that's got to be the question on your mind, right? What in the world does this ancient, kind of mystical symbol have to do with something as real and physical as your golf swing? Well, as we're about to find out, the connection is way deeper and more powerful than you might think. Okay, so here's the absolute core idea. The framework says your round of golf isn't a straight line from tee number 1 to the 18th green. Nope, it's a continuous circle. The result of your last shot, the flight of the ball, how you felt about it, that becomes the direct input, the starting point for your very next swing.
So let's tee off, shall we? Let's step onto this strange new fairway. This first section is all about getting the lay of the land and really wrapping our heads around this radical new way of seeing the game.
Right off the bat, the framework says you are not a separate player fighting against the golf course. It says you, your clubs, the wind, the slope of the fairway, it's all one single interconnected system. And what that means is there's no outside thing to blame for a bad shot. There's only the system and your ability or inability to account for all of its parts.
Now, this idea of a single, interconnected system, this is absolutely key. It's what the framework calls the holistic manifold. And believe me, once you really get this, it changes everything.
Look at this comparison. This requires a total shift in how you think. Traditionally, we see it as me against the course. The Ouroboros view just flips that completely on its head. The player is the course. That gust of wind isn't some external enemy, it's a variable acting through you and your decision.
So this brings us to the swing itself, which the framework sees as this beautiful paradox. You experience your swing as one single fluid thing, the one. But what's actually happening is this incredibly complex sequence of many different body parts firing in a perfect order, the many.
And here's how the many create the one. Research shows that in the most powerful elite swings, energy explodes from the ground up in a very specific order. It starts with the ground, fires up through your pelvis. That rotation then fires your torso, which then accelerates your arms, and finally, bam, it slingshots the club into the ball. If any part of that chain gets out of order, the whole system just leaks power everywhere. And you've got to love this. The framework is all about physics. A slice or a hook isn't some random accident. It's a perfect, brutally honest report card on exactly what just happened at impact. The ball is simply telling you the truth about the swing you just made. And here is one of the biggest truths that ball tells you. For decades, so many of us were taught that our swing path is what starts the ball on its line, while modern physics, with all the launch monitors and high-speed cameras, has proven that's just not true. A massive 85% of where your ball starts comes down to one thing: the angle of your club face at impact. That's it. Your path will curve it, but the face points it.
Okay, so if that's the map of the system, how do you actually navigate it? Let's talk about the process. How do you consciously master this Ouroboros loop on every single shot you hit?
Your pre-shot routine is the gateway. It's how you step into the loop. It's a transformation. You start out as an analyst, gathering all the data. Then you become an artist, visualizing the perfect shot. And finally, you have to become an athlete, trusting your body to just do its thing without your brain getting in the way.
And this is absolutely the key. The shot is not over when the ball lands. The loop closes after the shot. This is the moment the serpent consumes its own tail. You observe the result, good or bad, without emotion, analyze why it happened, and then you reset your mind for the next loop. This is where real learning happens. You're not just a golfer anymore. You're a scientist turning every outcome into new data.
All right, this next part is where things get really interesting, and frankly, a little weird. The framework argues that true power, true mastery, doesn't come from solving problems, but from embracing the contradictions, the paradoxes of the game.
Here's the first big one, the effort paradox. We've all been there, right? Your brain is screaming, hit it harder, but the harder you consciously try, the more tension you create in your muscles, and that tension literally slows you down. Maximum club head speed, all that power, comes from a feeling of ease, of fluidity, that lets your body crack like a whip.
And then you've got the target paradox. This is so wild. You'd think aiming at a huge target, like the fairway, would be easier. Nope. It gives your brain a vague, lazy command. But if you aim at a tiny, specific target, like one single leaf on a tree in the distance, it engages your brain's high-precision systems. And what's crazy is this actually frees up your big muscles to swing, and your misses end up being much, much smaller.
Essentially, you have to learn to be two different golfers. On the practice range, you're the scientist. You're analyzing every little piece of your swing. But on the course, you have to let all that go and become an artist. You have to trust the whole system to just work. You got to train the mechanics so hard that you can completely forget the mechanic.
So, after all of this, the systems, the physics, these mind-bending paradoxes, what's the point? Where does it all lead? Let's talk about the ultimate goal, the very reason we'd even bother with this whole complex loop in the first place.
The framework gives this moment a fantastic name, the radiant chomp. It's that perfect, pure strike. You know the one. It's that instant where all the variables, the mechanics, the wind, your thoughts, just collapse into one single point of perfect contact and total clarity.
Now, this radiant chump might sound a little mystical, but really, it's just another name for what athletes call the zone, or a flow state. It's that incredible experience where your analytical mind just goes quiet, your ego disappears, and it feels like the swing is happening through you, not by you. In that moment, the score doesn't even matter. The pure feeling of the strike is the entire reward. It's the destination the whole Ouroboros loop is trying to get you to.
So, at the end of the day, the Ouroboros framework leaves you with a question, a choice about your own relationship with golf. Are you just out there adding up numbers on a scorecard? Are you engaging in a continuous, eternal loop of cause, effect, and learning, where every single shot feeds the next? The choice, as they say, is yours.